Good afternoon, and you're very welcome to PPSS TV.
Our very first broadcast live from the school grounds here at Rock the Road, Fethard.
We've been working very hard over the last few months to put this show together, and we hope you can stay tuned for the next 25 minutes or so to see what we've in store. Hello and welcome to Patrician Presentation Secondary School, Fethard, where we've converted our sports hall into a TV studio to bring you this programme.
This year, for the first time, we introduced media studies to our TY curriculum, trying to make careers in the media. And over the last 8 months, so we've all had the opportunity to record and edit our own videos, produce scripts, add voiceovers, work with green screens and much more.
By preparing for and doing this show, we've gained an appreciation for the effort and teamwork involved behind the scenes by so many people to make a project like this happen.
So now, very briefly, let's take a quick look at what's going up in our show.
We begin with Anya and her interview with local trainer Mouse Morris. After that, Taryn and I will talk about our TY experience. Sarah and Charlotte will discuss their walking tour Fethard with Mary Hanrahan. Amy Morrissey will talk about her experience in the Young Scientists Awards. Jack is going to share information about Feathertown Park, and Alvaro will talk to us about his experience in Ireland as a Spanish exchange student. Our final segment of the day will be an interview with our school principal, Billy Walsh.
Right, let's get started with our first feature. We're researching topics that we would like to feature in our show. We can do it very quickly because of our location. We have to include a segment on one of our most important industries locally, the equine industry. So we sent a reporter, Anya Connolly, along to one of our better known racing yards to investigate what exactly is involved in working with sometimes very expensive horses. It was a very competitive environment. Anya.
Yes, good afternoon Evan, good afternoon everyone, and you're very welcome to the home of Mouse Morris Racing. As most of you will know, the location of Fethard and our school is very much in the heart of horse country, surrounded by main stud farms, the most famous of which is Coolmore. Over the next 2 minutes or so, we hope to get the flavour of the workings of this particular establishment from the head girl Sarah.
Mouse was an amateur jockey when he was younger and then took up training, which he established here a long time ago. And he's been training here ever since. Long hours, it's a physical job, but the rewards of going racing and seeing horses progress definitely outweighs the hard work and the physical. The weather doesn't help 90% of the time either, but no, definitely the joys of going racing and the successes we have definitely outweighs the hardship. Okay, so the morning starts about 7 o'clock when they're fed, their breakfast, and then they're mucked out, stables mucked out, cleaned out, they're hayed, then they're all exercised. Depending on what day of the week or what they're doing that week, depends on what they do, their exercise program. And then they're fed lunch. They have a break in the middle of the day and we have a nice break in the middle of the day, and then we come back and look after them, checking their legs, checking for injuries, anything like that. And when the weather's good, they get to go into the paddocks and we just bring them in, and then 5 o'clock time we feed, and that's it really. Mouse has been lucky enough to have a lot of good horses go through the yard. Probably going back, you had Buckhouse, he won champion chases at Cheltenham. He had Caravella Howe, he was a good horse. Fox Chapel King, and in more recent times War of Attrition won the Gold Cup in Cheltenham, and Rule the World won the 2016 Grand National, And he's also been lucky enough to win 2 Irish nationals with Rogue Angel and Hear the Echo. They all have their own characters, they're very individual, and yes, you'd definitely get attached to some more than others, and you'd find different lads working in the yard would get more attached to others and form, good strong bonds. They're definitely characters of their own right.
So there you have it, Emily, a day in the life and activities of a well-known racing yard, right here on our doorstep in Fethard. A very glamorous world in some ways, but also one that needs a lot of hard work on a daily basis. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks very much for that fantastic insight, Anya, and no doubt we'll be hearing plenty more from Mousemars trained horses in the weeks and months ahead. Returning now to more school-based matters. Transition year is often promoted as the year in school where students get to engage in different activities and experiences that might not always be possible in other years. At our school, we're delighted to say that we experience many out-of-school extracurricular activities, which we will now share with you in this brief report by Taryn and myself.
One of the best parts of TY was all the exciting trips we got to go on. Over the course of this year, we went on an average of 1 trip a month. Trips can be educational, physical, or simply just to try something new. All of the trips we've gone on so far have been very enjoyable and have so many benefits. One of the main objectives of the trips is to bring us closer as a group and recognise the value of teamwork. We don't have the worries of exams, so therefore we can take more time to get to know each other better. TY also gives us a social education by showing us the importance of appropriate behaviour in different environments. More benefits include reinforcing lessons and expanding knowledge, encouraging and discovering new interests, experiencing different cultures, seeing a different side to teachers, personal development, confidence building, and of course positive memories. First trip we went on this year was a cycle to the Waterford Greenway. We cycled 45 kilometres from Dungarvan to Kilmacthomas. When we arrived in Kilmacthomas, our teachers Miss Whelan and Miss McKeough bought us all a coffee from a coffee van and we sat together and had a chat about what we were looking forward to in the year ahead. For our October trip we went kayaking. We kayaked along the River Shore in Cahir. It was a unique experience and nobody had ever done it before. The next trip we went on was in November when we set off for Castlecomer in Kilkenny, where we encountered the Octagon, which is a treetop obstacle course that involved balancing on high ropes and negotiating various challenges to get around it. One of the more unusual and interesting experiences of our year was when the reptile zoo came to our school and provided us with a demonstration of various lizards and snakes. However, I think it's fair to say that the standout trip of TY for most people was our excursion to Fota Island just before Christmas, and Emily will now talk to you about that in more detail.
On the 16th of December, me and my class went on a trip to Cork. The first thing we did down there was go to Mahon Point Shopping Centre, in which we all split up and went shopping and got food. We had 3 hours to do all this, then we all met up at the bus and headed off to Fota Island. When we got there we had time to spare, so we took the time to visit the gift shops, look at the animals and sit and have a snack. We then went and got our skates for the ice and we were ready to go. It was a skating trail, so it was better than a rink because you weren't doing the same circle over and over. It wasn't all flat either, so it made it more enjoyable and funnier to see people falling. It was a 50-minute slot, which was plenty of time to enjoy the ice. After we finished skating, we looked at the pictures the workers took on the big screen, then got hot crepes for the journey home. It's safe to say it was our best trip yet.
Now for something completely different. As many of you will know, Fethard is known far and wide as a town of great historical significance and has boasted a very active and enthusiastic historical society. So recently Charlotte and Sarah met up for a chat with its chairperson, Mary Hanrahan, to discover a little more about this rich heritage.
Good afternoon everyone and welcome to this brief whistle-stop tour of a selection of the historical treasures of Fethard. We are joined on this report by Mrs. Mary Hanrahan and are very grateful to her for her willingness to share her knowledge of some of the many sites that are visible on a daily basis to the residents of our town.
So
So Mary, we're here now at one of Fethard's most well-known historical sites. Could you tell us a bit about the North Gate, please?
This is the North Gate, also known as Spargalet, through which our school children pass on a daily basis on their way to school. It was part of the original walled town. There were 5 gateways, but this is the only gateway still remaining. It's interesting because the construction was Norman construction, as you can see from the stonework, etc. But the archway was actually created in a very typical traditional Irish way. The builders used basket weave to make a frame over which they placed the stones, and the cross hatchings left by the basket work can still be seen underneath the archway. Beside the North Gate you have the tower where the gatekeeper lived, and it was his job to collect the tolls from people coming into town to sell their goods on market day.
So we've moved on to the main street in the town hall. What is the significance of this building?
This building, in fact, is very, very important. It's literally the jewel in the crown of our main street. It was built in 1608 by Sir John Everard as a fossil or a hospital for old people, and it has served as a town hall, and in the last century as a library and a firehouse and all kinds of things. And then recently it was restored, fully restored in a 4-year period, and it now houses the Fethard Horse Country Experience, which is proving to be a great tourist attraction, both locally and nationally. When you look at the building itself, you can actually read the history of the building because, as I said, it was built by the Everards, and their plaques and memorial crests adorn the facade.
So we've reached our final stop on our walking tour of Fethard. The town wall looks stunning today, Mary. Could you tell us something about its origins?
Of course. Yes, in 1292 a charter was granted by Edward I of England to build a walled town. Of course, the town itself was in existence from 1208, and we credit a man called William de Braose, one of the Norman knights, as the founder of the town. But and initially we believed that the Normans, of course, came here. Now, there were people here already. The Irish were here, you know, the O'Briens and the McCarthys. This was their territory. And when the Normans moved in and started building their towns, of course, they needed a wall for defence. We believe they built a wooden palisade around the town first, and then they replaced it following 1292 with a stone wall. The wall extends about over a kilometre in length, and we're very, very pleased to say that most of the wall is still intact. And you can actually go into the grounds of Holy Trinity Church, and you can walk on the walls, and you can look out at a vista that has very little changed in 700 years.
So that brings us to the end of our report. We hope you have enjoyed it, and if you haven't done so already, you may be encouraged to come and visit our historical town. Back to you, Emily.
Thanks, girls, and a big thank you to Mary Hanrahan for her time and knowledge in that report. This year, for the first time ever, our school participated in the Young Science exhibition. Amy Morrissey and Mary Ann Fitzgerald, with the help of their teacher, Miss Lauren Dowling, researched the benefits of pets to the people during the COVID-19 pandemic. Amy now has more on this story.
Hi, my name is Amy Morrissey and I participated in the BT Young Scientist competition with my classmate Mary Ann Fitzgerald. The topic we chose was how pets have helped us cope during the pandemic. We chose this topic because we both had an interest in animals, and we noticed that over the pandemic people's mental health decreased. The prices in pets went up, which meant that there was a higher demand for them. People were using pets as a coping mechanism, and we wanted to find out whether or not they really help people's mental health. The first thing we did to get an accurate result in our project was to conduct a survey on how pets benefited people's mental and physical health during the pandemic. We got 100 responses from a range of different age groups and genders. Next, we got a focus group of 40 volunteers with various different ages and genders, and we did a heart rate and blood pressure test before and after they met an animal. Most people's heart rate and blood pressure decreased, which meant that they were more relaxed and stress-free around the animals. The people whose heart rate and blood pressure increased were a lot more nervous of the animals, but we felt if they had longer with the animals, they would have gotten more used to them, and then their heart rate and blood pressure would have decreased. We also conducted 2 interviews, one with Marianne's cousin Emma Lacey, who is paralysed and uses a service dog to help with everyday tasks and benefits her mental and physical health in many ways. The second interview we conducted was with Miss O'Gorman, who is a lady who does horse therapy for children and adults in need. She said that she thinks horses are one of the best animals to use in animal therapy because they react to our behaviour.
And congratulations to Amy and Marianne, who received a commendation from the judges for their project. Next in our programme today, here at Patrician Presentation, we place particular emphasis on the importance of sport for the physical and mental well-being of people of all ages. With the recent development of the Fethard Park, we now have on our doorstep a world-class sports and recreational facility for the benefit of our community for years to come. Jack, Evan and Anya recently popped across the road to investigate and will now tell us a little more.
Yes, Emily, we're sending you this report from brand new AstroTurf on the newest development in our town, Fethard Town Park. Fethard Town Park is a multi-purpose sports, leisure and recreational development funded by grants, support from Coolmore Stud and a significant local fundraising effort. A sizable component of the town park is sport related, as many people avail of and realise the importance of sport and physical health. Therefore, the park will consist of a sand pitch, a rugby pitch and Tipperary's first full-size all-weather floodlight pitch. Evan will now share with us an aspect of our new town park which is rapidly growing in popularity and familiarity around the country.
Hi, I'm Evan and I'd like to talk to you about the sensory garden aspect of Fethard Town Park. For those who may not know, a sensory garden is designed to stimulate the senses and help people with special needs deal with anxiety. A sensory garden is all about stimulating and engaging the 5 basic senses of sight, smell, sound, touch and taste. It does this in the following ways: scented plants, edible plants, engraved seating, play sculptures, touch pads, mirrors, sand pits and water features. They are popular which are both beneficial to children and adults, including those with sensory processing issues including autism. The sensory garden will be a great addition to the town and Fethard community.
Thanks very much for that, Evan. Anya will now have a brief chat with the director of Fethard Town Park, Maurice Maloney, to find out more.
Yes, we're joined here by Maurice Maloney at the Fethard Town Park. Maurice, where did the idea come to build a town park from?
Hi Anya, you're welcome here to Fethard Town Park this morning. It dates back probably a decade at this stage now, but it was very small, humble beginnings of what was first mooted for what to build here in Fethard. And we decided at that stage with the Fethard Business and Tourism Group to get together and get all the clubs, all the organisations. I think we got 23 together all together back however many years ago to come up with ideas of what they would like and what their idea was for social and amenity and sporting requirements in the town. Bit by bit it has increased to develop to what we have here today. Yeah.
At the moment, the park has an outdoor gym, a 3G pitch, a walkway and more. What can we look forward to in the phase 2 of the development?
Okay, what we have here is you've seen all the facilities that are here at the moment, which is mostly the sporting element of the development. In a while we'll swing around and you'll see what's going on in phase 2, which is gym, indoor gym, cafe, community annex. There are state-of-the-art dressing rooms, there are toilets, there are a cafe, an outdoor plaza. So it's quite significant what we're going to do. There's car parking for over 150 cars, plus extensive parkland as well in phase 2.
Fethard Town Park has been building a relationship with the primary and secondary schools. What kind of projects do you think we can work on together?
Yes, that's endless what we can do there, Anya. It's at the moment the primary school and the secondary school here in Fethard have free access to all the facilities here in the park, and it is tremendous to see all the young kids using these facilities, and it enhances the school and it enhances the community spirit within the school as well. So I think there are endless projects that we can do here in time with festivals and with various activities that can happen with the schools. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for joining us today,
You're
Maurice.
welcome. Thank you very much for coming over. Yeah.
That's all we have time for today from the heart of Fethard Town Park. So it's back to Emily and Evan in studio.
and we wish everyone associated with the new Fethard Town Park the very best of luck in the future as they strive to bring this project to completion. Now, every year in our school we welcome students from overseas countries such as France, Italy and Spain to experience our culture and education. In fact, the practice of allowing students from abroad to integrate into Irish school culture has been so important in the context of what's been happening in Ukraine. Alvaro, who came into our TY class this year from Spain, will now tell us a little bit more about his experience at Fethard as an overseas student.
Hi, my name is Alvaro. I'm a TY student in secondary school in Fethard. I'm an exchange student from Spain and I'm here for the full year. This video forms parts of my TY project. We are going to how to use the green screen and more things. In this video I'm going to explain my experience in Ireland. During my time here in Ireland I've been many good experiences. All the people here is so kind and the life in Fethard town is calm usually. Sometimes at the weekends I go to clubbing with my friends. I live with the host family, the Gleasons. For the first 5 months I stay on my own with the family, but 1 month ago Filippo, an Italian student, come to live with us. This year in Ireland it's a nice year for students. It's a bit different from Spain because in Spain it's the most difficult year in the school and you need to learn a lot of knowledge. In my point of view, in this way it's better for do the transition year to help to choose what you want to do in the life. Here in the school we do different activities and trips. Once a week during the TY you need to do a work experience. You choose a workplace outside the school. For all these reasons, I'm glad and I chose Ireland for my location in the further school for the exchange.
And so that brings us almost to the end of our very first TY Media Studies live broadcast. But before we do finish, we'd like to hand you back to Anya, who is standing by for a brief chat with our school principal, Mr. Walsh.
Thanks, Emily. We're joined here by our school principal, Mr. Walsh. Thanks for joining us today. I'll start by asking you, this year we've been working a lot with Mr. Maher, Mr. McGree and Mr. O'Connor in TY Media Studies. Do you foresee this being a TY module every year?
Yeah, well, to start with, we're blessed here because we've excellent teachers who regularly come to me with brilliant ideas, and that was one of those brilliant ideas, the TY Media module. As you can see, it's been brilliant. And I foresee this going on into the future, getting even bigger and better. So yes, definitely we'll keep on the TY module.
Why did you apply for the role of principal?
I actually never started out in my career wanting to be principal. I was happy teaching. I was teaching in a school in Waterford and I loved it. But my daughter was born and I wasn't getting paid for the summer, so through necessity I actually applied for a job in Fethard. And I was sad leaving my other school, but when I came here I absolutely loved it. And I suppose when the job of principal came up, I thought what better way to push the school forward than to be principal of the school, so I'm delighted I took it.
What are some of the daily challenges of being principal?
I think, not so much challenges, I think opportunities, because every challenge gives you an opportunity to make things better. But if I was to focus on an actual challenge, it would be I give 110% of myself to the school, but I have a young family and I need to give them 110% to me as well. So when I leave here, it is a challenge to turn off and try forget about the school and concentrate on my family. So that's the biggest challenge for me.
Yeah. And what are some of the qualities you need for the role?
Qualities you need to be a principal, probably the same as the qualities you need for any job really, and the same qualities you need to be just a good person, and that's be honest, have integrity, work hard. In my interview actually, there's only one promise I made in that interview for the job, and that was I would be myself, and all I can be is myself, and all I can give the school is 100% of me and myself, and that's what I give, and I hope that's enough.
What is a standout memory you have of our year group from our 4 years of being here?
Oh, I really like working with you. Like I remember when you came in first year, it was brilliant. So I have a really good relationship with you, and I hope you have the same with me.
Yeah.
There's loads of standout moments, but the most recent one was only a few weeks ago, when at the drop of a hat you coordinated the sports day, and you grabbed first years and you towed them into line, and you just, I suppose, you owned the show, so it was brilliant. So that's a standout moment for me.
And what is your vision for the school going forward?
Yeah, I had a vision when I took over the job. We're some of the way there. So I suppose some of the things we've done, or some of the vision that's been partly achieved, is the department giving us the new building, the new ASD special class, new subjects, happy teachers, happy students, brilliant learning, brilliant teaching, and that's what I want to continue into the future. So we're part way there, and we just want to keep going from strength to strength.
Good. Thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate you giving up your time. Back to Emily and Evan in the studio.
Thanks, Sonia. So that's it. We've come to the end of our live show.
We sincerely hope they've enjoyed some of the items that have been included in our show today.
It's been a nerve-wracking 3 or 4 days, but we hope that we've shown future transition year groups that you really can try and achieve something special if you put your mind to it.
So from myself, Emily, and everyone in our group and behind the scenes who worked on this project, goodbye and take care.
Slán agus Beannacht.